Hello there, Jackie Bolhuis from Klompen Stampers. Okay, where's my pretty paper hoarders? Raise your hand. I know you're out there because I hear it all the time. You buy all these pretty designer series papers, or DSP like we like to call them, and then you don't use them because they're too pretty. Well, I've got a project today that says bring out those papers and give it a try. Now, if you're one that does use your papers and you have scraps, this is actually the perfect scrap project as well, because all you need are 4 little pieces, okay? So we're gonna make a fun card using these 4 little pieces. So I challenge you, use your designer series paper. What good is it if you buy it and you don't use it to make pretty cards? So that's what we're gonna do today. Quick and easy card as well, because you know me, nothing's hard. So let's go ahead, flip the camera down, and I'm ready to get stamping with you today. Now, before I start making this card, I have to tell you, I don't have a sample to show you. Most often, I pre-make a card before I do a video just so I kind of know what I'm doing, and I'll either show it to you right up front or I have it sitting like right up there so I can copy it. I didn't do it this time, so you're actually going to see me winging it. The idea's in my head. We'll see if we can get it out, which is kind of a scary thought. So what I have is 4 pieces of 1.5 by 5. And really the 5 doesn't matter. It can be longer if you want, but each piece is 1.5. And then what I'm going to do is cut each on the diagonal. Now, I have shared this card before. It's been kind of a while though, so we'll see how this works. So we've cut that one at an angle. We'll cut this at an angle. This is the Ornate Garden Designer Series paper. Now, you can use any papers, and that's why I started out by saying, get out those pretty papers and quit hoarding them. Use them. You know, what good are they if we're not making pretty cards out of them? So doesn't take a lot of paper, but let's just get these cut. And then what I'm going to do is take a base. It's not really a base for the whole card, but it's a base for our papers. And I think some people call this the Starburst Technique or Sunburst Technique or something like that. But what we're going to do with these pieces is kind of lay them across our paper to make the starburst. Now, before I start, I got to show you this cool little thing. You know, you guys all know I'm a green glue fan. This is probably the only adhesive I really use for layering things and putting cards together. But you know, it's best if you store it on end like this, because then our glue's always down at the tip. Well, one of my team members made this for me, and all it is a little votive candle holder, and she put a whole bunch of hot glue, it looks like, down on the inside, and then glued a cap in there. So this is all nice and solid. So now as I use my glue, it stands up perfectly in there. I can take it out, use it, and put it in. I don't even have to screw it in. I just leave it right like that. So what we're going to do for our card is we're going to start out and we're going to just put some adhesive on here. And you know what? I need my craft silicone sheet. Hold on a sec. I always try to be so prepared before I start filming, but you know, I always forget something. We're going to use the craft silicone sheet underneath our cardstock here, because that way, if any of our adhesive runs off, which I know it's going to on this one, it's going to go onto that silicone sheet and we'll be able to easily just wipe that off. If I was to do it onto my grid paper here, it'd be stuck down and I wouldn't be able to get it up. So what we're going to do is put adhesive on here. Now I don't have to, worry about too far, whatever. And I'm going to just work my way around this card. And every time I'm alternating the patterns, and then I'm just pushing them up tight to each other. Now that's another reason I really like the Tombow multi-purpose glue, or green glue, as I like to call it. It's funny, I've heard a few of you guys call it that as well. And we're going to do that. But one of the things is, see how it kind of slides? So I can slide it up nice and tight there. What I do want to make sure, I'm not so worried about this bottom because we're going to cover part of this up, but I want to make sure I'm coming off the edge up on the top there. Okay, so let's just move it over a little bit. Now let's take one of these. Oops, put the glue on the back side. Now, if you like both sides of the paper, you could, flip it over both ways. But for this one, I really wanted to just show the metallic piece here along with the other one. So isn't that pretty? We're just building our card. So we're gonna come over here. Now, I do have a 1-inch strip that is going to go along the bottom. So I don't have to worry about that little part because you can see how this is gonna go right there and cover that up. So we're down far enough there. See how that peels right off of there? No problem whatsoever. And then we can take this piece, put some adhesive on there. And again, I need to make sure I cover all the way up to the top here. So we'll tuck that in there nice and tight. And then we need our colorful one. And we'll put that right there. You know, there's really no right or wrong way here at all. We're just kind of working our way around. So this one's not going to have a whole lot of room there, but it's going to work perfectly. So there we go. We've worked our way all the way around like so. Let's pick that up. That one's got to slide in a little bit tighter. And it does look like kind of a mess. See all the glue on there? Once that dries, I'm going to be able to just use my finger and I'll be able to rub that right off. But you can see what a mess this is. Now the next step is I need to make sure this dries before I go to my paper cutter because I do have some adhesive poking out on some of those pieces. So we'll give it a good dry. And then what I'm going to do is grab my paper cutter and I'm going to just trim around all the edges. Now this white piece, I started out with, it's 5 1/4 by 4, but I actually want it to be 5 by 3 3/4. So I'm bigger than I need just to give me room to go around and trim off all of those edges. And then I'll have a nice clean flush edge all the way around to layer onto another piece of cardstock. So we're gonna give it a second to dry and then I'm gonna trim it down for you. And there we go. So you can see how I went around and I trimmed it all the way around. So now my measurements are 5 by 3 3/4. Now don't worry about remembering those measurements. Down in the video link, or video description, I will have a link that'll take you over to my blog post. I'll have pictures of my card over there, as well as all of my measurements and all the supplies I used. So you'll be able to real easily recreate this. And kind of the beauty of this card is you can make this with any designer series paper. Just take a couple of 1.5-inch pieces and go ahead and start making your starbursts like that. So we've layered onto a piece of early espresso. And then I have a piece of bumblebee that it's going to go onto like so. But we need our greeting. So let the designer series paper do the work and then add a greeting and we're good to go. So I've got the ornate thanks, which actually coordinates with this designer series paper, but that didn't matter so much. This is a great greeting set because it has these nice 3 big words, thankful, so grateful, thanks. But then all these fun little pieces that go with it and you can kind of combine them, you know, all different ways and to say whatever you want to say. So we're going to start by just doing a thank you. And now look, before I glue this, I want to show you. See how we got just a little smidgen of that white showing yet? That's okay. That's that part that was, you know, when we went around, we didn't get all the way to the edge, but no big deal at all. So now let's flip this over and put some dimensionals on here. Got to use dimensionals on a card. You know me. So we'll peel those off. My fingers aren't working so good here. Let's see. I think I got a little bit of adhesive on my fingers. That's my problem. Oh, there we go. Hey, do you guys find these little dimensional backings everywhere? Last night I was sitting on my back deck outside and they were on my table on my deck. I'm like, what the heck? Where'd those come from? Oh, there we go. We've popped up our thank you. Now I think we just need to add some ribbon on there. So I have the ribbon. This actually comes, no, it doesn't come with, you can buy it with. It coordinates with the ferns and it's a ribbon pack. So you get, to me, it's almost a gauzy type ribbon and then this beautiful gold cord. So they come together as a pair. Okay, so you don't buy them individually, but together. And I think what I'm gonna do is let's just make sure these are long enough and we're gonna kind of double them. We're gonna just tie them at the same time. So we'll take that and we'll just kind of lay it on there. You know, this is where you're just gonna hold things and hope they stay together. And so we'll wrap it around. Come a little bit that way. And I'm not gonna tie a bow. I think we're just gonna tie a knot so we can The key here is I'm trying to keep them layered together. So there, we'll go that way. And then let's see if we can finish this off without losing one of the ends there. So, you know, the thing with ribbon, you know, we all try to cut it as conservatively as we can because we don't want to waste any, but make sure you leave yourself enough pieces, you know, long enough pieces so that you can tie that bow. You know, if they're too short and then we're kind of, you know, really futzing around with them with our fingers and it gets kind of hard. If they get too short, we're kind of putzing around too much with them. It really does get kind of hard to trim them off. So, you know what? I think we'll go just a little bit shorter on this one here. So we don't want to cover up our thank you too much. There we go. So there's the front of our card. So again, this was very simple. Look at how, you know, the minimal stamping, only that greeting. So then we can take our adhesive and we'll put that on like so. And we're going to pop that on. Well, not pop it on because popping it would mean dimensionals. We're going to adhere that right down to the front of our card. And then we always have to finish off the inside. So I have a piece here, a little sticky there, 5 1/4 by 4. And then I grabbed a couple of the other greetings from that stamp set. So we have the thank you on the outside, and then we can go ahead and I'm going to just put so grateful. And then this one says for everything. So we'll just go ahead and kind of layer that over to the right. But I love the mixture of those fonts on there. So we can go ahead and we'll use some adhesive and we'll stick this on the inside. And I think we were successful not pre-making this card. I think it worked out. So there's that. So what do you think? It's a simple card. I think it's beautiful. You know, you get this gold embossing in there. It really pops with that paper. But again, the Starburst technique you could do with any paper. It's great for using your scraps or just using that paper that you haven't dared to cut open yet because it doesn't take that much of it. Grab your greeting and you're good to go. So as always, if you guys have questions, reach out to me. Or if you'd like to order any of the products I used or anything from Stampin' Up, I would love to earn your business and be your Stampin' Up demonstrator. I really appreciate my customers and I have a great rewards program for those that shop with me, my frequent shopper points where you can earn free stamps for me. So I'd love for you to get in on that as well. So leave me a comment, send me an email, reach out to me if you have any questions or if I can help you in any way. So until I stamp again with you real soon, have a stamp happy day.